Hello, cruel world. My name is Dr. Shaham Das. I'm a Consultant Forensic Psychiatrist. I assess mentally disordered offenders for a living so that you don't have to. Today's episode is a reaction video, and this is to a video, the link of which I will put in the descriptions of Amberheard. And it's about Amberheard apologising for her disturbing behaviours in the past. I think it's fair to say that she has not covered herself in glory during the recent defamation trial with Johnny Depp. So I'm going to be reacting to this video. I'm going to be talking about some of her behaviours and her personality traits. I'm going to see whether they fit in with this diagnosis that she's been given of borderline personality disorder. I'll also explain to all you all what that is. And we're going to see whether those behaviours kind of connect to that diagnosis. Let's get started.
Did Amberheard finally apologize for her disturbing past? It's been a month since Amberheard lost the high-profile defamation case against Johnny Depp, but the internet is still not done with exposing Amber's shady past and her disturbing behavior. Several shocking videos are now making rounds on social media showing Amber treating her fans horribly and making fun of DV victims. But that's not all. The internet detectives have discovered a lot more dirt on Amber, and it's seriously disturbing. During the defamation trial, Amber got exposed for mistreating multiple people from her inner circle. Not only did she admit to getting physical with Johnny, but Johnny also testified that Amber mistreated her own sister Whitney. According to Johnny, Amber basically treated Whitney as her lackey, calling her names and even throwing wine at her face.
Right, so obviously this reported behaviour, again, is not particularly pleasant. It's quite hostile, isn't it? It shows somebody that's quite entitled and narcissistic. I should say that I'm working on the assumption that this is true. So as an expert witness, what I do for a living, I need to see evidence. So whether it's case papers, witness statements, obviously because this is all internet based, I don't have that evidence and I've not assessed her in person, but I'm working on the assumption that this is true. So I think now is a good time to explain the behaviours of borderline so that we can see if they link into the rest of what is being claimed in this video. So you've probably heard the term borderline personality disorder, also known as emotionally unstable personality disorder. People with this disorder typically can be extremely impulsive. They have a very variable mood and they're prone to mood swings, which means they can lose their temper very, very easily. That's in essence what it's about. It's about not being able to control emotions, easily getting into fights, arguments. They have quite turbulent relationships. They're never fully happy, so they have what we call a shallow affect, which means they feel lots of emotions, but they don't feel them to much great depth, and they're constantly sort of changeable and variable. Sometimes they can self-harm, sometimes they can be quite impulsive. They often use alcohol and drugs. I should say that obviously, you know, this is quite, what I'm saying is quite critical. Lots of people with borderline function really, really well. They can be quite fun to hang around with. They can be like the life and soul of the party. The ones that I see as a forensic psychiatrist tend to offend, but that's not a reflection on borderline, that's a reflection on the patient clientele that I see during criminal cases. The other big feature of borderline personality disorder, which I would be remiss not to mention, is that they have a fear of abandonment. And that could be a very good explanation why, in a case like this, two people that are in a toxic relationship who do not get on particularly well find it difficult to uncouple or to separate because of that fear of abandonment. So I just wanted to give you some of that background context. Now let's go back into the video.
It was a kind of a strange combination of loving sister, trusted sister and friend, and then lackey. And then, you know, either the punching bag or the dartboard, or the recipient of some rather demeaning and ugly words, or she would have wine thrown in her face.
And who was the source of those demeaning words and the wine that you just referenced?
Well, that would be Amberheard, her sister.
So what we're seeing is, I have to say, very typical for borderline personality disorder. So the attitudes that they have towards people around them, friends, families, loved ones, husbands, wives, partners, is very inconsistent and it's very variable. So in psych speak, we call that splitting. So splitting is where you turn something into two extremes and you kind of break it into two. And it can be splitting between individuals, so they might really get on very well with some individuals and not others. And typically, when we have people with borderline on a psychiatric ward or in a community psychiatric team, they get on really, really well and get support from some members of staff, but do not ingratiate themselves with other members of staff. So staff team themselves are split. Some people really like this person, want to help them. Some people think that they're quite challenging in their behaviour and want to kind of distance themselves from them. But splitting can also occur, as well as a group of individuals, it can occur in one individual at times. So what I'm saying is that it's very typical for somebody with borderline to act like Amber Heard reportedly acted towards her sister. So she's nice, friendly, loving towards her sometimes, but at the drop of the hat, she changes her whole kind of demeanour, approach, presentation, attitude. Let's continue.
And how do you know that?
Well, I witnessed quite a lot of it. The whine in the face was something that happened in New York, which I think that even made it into the papers.
I just want to quickly say that obviously in the split screen you can see Amber Heard's face here, and you could argue that she's looking a bit, I don't even know what the word is, smarmy, a bit smug. And I have seen lots of people in the comment sections for this type of video, and also for other videos about other people, and also so-called body language experts, try and make inferences into what somebody like Amber Heard is thinking. Personally, you know, I assess people psychiatrically for a living. I don't think you can place too much emphasis on this, because people react in different ways. Just because she's looking like that doesn't mean that she's, you know, lying or that none of it's true, or conversely doesn't mean that it is true and she feels guilty. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you cannot rely too much on facial expressions, simply because different people react to things in different ways, to traumas, to insults, to distress in different ways. So it's an unreliable source of assessment in my view.
I believe that even made it into the papers. It was in an elevator.
Johnny said that Whitney was always walking around eggshells around Amber and doing the most to please her.
I could sense, I could feel that Whitney was trying to please her sister, trying to be up to snuff, and it just seemed like she got shot down.
Objection, Your Honor.
But Johnny is not the only person who witnessed Amber mistreating her sister. Amber's former personal assistant, Kate James, also testified in court that Amber treated Whitney like a kicked dog.
Like a kicked dog? Maybe Amber is taking lessons from 𝐾𝐬𝐲𝐜𝐡 about the School of Pet Management. Sorry, just had to say that.
It was an ongoing kick the dog kind of relationship with her sister, so it's really hard to pinpoint any specifics, but her poor sister was treated like the dog that you kick, basically.
Of course, that wasn't just Whitney who found herself at the receiving end of Amber's rage. Kate James also revealed during her testimony that Amber would go absolutely crazy over the smallest things. Kate testified that Amber would constantly scream at her and lash out over text messages for no reason.
Screaming over the phone. She screamed at me once in person, multiple times screaming at me over the phone. Barrages of abusive text messages, day and night, a lot of them in the middle of the night. I think you're aware. I think between 2 and 4 a.m. the barrage would start. That's what I'd wake up to. All incoherent, not really making sense, just basically someone to lash out at, you know, no apparent reason to it.
While I was listening to this, I suppose I was thinking to myself, is this typical of borderline? And I think that it's more than just borderline. It's not that doesn't fully explain Amber Heard's behaviour if all of these allegations are true. I think it's that in the background, but it's also mixed with this huge sense of entitlement, this narcissism, this fragile ego. And you can kind of understand how in some people, being like an A-list celebrity can feed those personality traits, right? So if somebody's already like that, being surrounded by sort of yes men, having people like treat you like royalty, putting the red carpet out, all this attention, all this love, all this adoration, I don't think it can cause those personality traits, but I think if they're already there, it can multiply them. So just off the top of my head, like Keanu Reeves, he's got a reputation for being such a nice guy in person. He's also an A-list celebrity, so he doesn't act this way. But I think that's because it was never in his makeup, his DNA, to be so entitled and narcissistic. But I think that being an A-list celebrity can multiply them. The other thing that was recurring to me is that obviously through the trial we learnt that Amber Heard and Johnny Depp both used lots of substances. So something that could explain this behaviour as well as all of those things is intoxication, especially if she's slurring her words and was quite agitated at times. So I don't think that can be understated. Okay, back to video.
And then one time when Kate, who said she was severely underpaid for her work, tried to discuss her salary with Amber, Amber flew into a fit of rage and spat in her face.
Wow, spat.
As for how Amber treated Johnny, the person she claims she loved with all her heart, well, we've all heard those audio recordings of Amber showing her love.
On the first day of the trial, you issued a statement, and part of the statement said, "I still have love for Johnny."
Yes.
Is that still true?
Yes.
After everything?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love him.
Okay, so she reportedly treated Johnny Depp so bad, was violent to him, was very sort of aggressive, hostile, nasty, but she's categorically saying that she loves him. And that might seem paradoxical on the surface. It might seem like she's lying, but it's not necessarily true. So with borderline personality disorder, you have very mixed and very variable attachments. And like the splitting I was talking about before, it can be true. You could absolutely love somebody. In fact, you could love somebody passionately and fiercely if you have borderline for 1 minute or 1 day, but sort of turn around and as I said before, your attitude towards them change. So I suppose the point I'm trying to make is that can be true when you have this personality disorder. It's actually relatively common.
Besides multiple audio recordings in which Amber admits laying her hands on Johnny and then gaslighting him and making fun of his injuries, we also heard from multiple witnesses during the trial that Amber used to belittle Johnny, calling him names, body shaming him, and even accusing him of being a deadbeat dad.
Heard call him a deadbeat dad. If I can say that, I apologize to the court.
Do you have to apologise to the court for saying deadbeat dad? Is that really that offensive? I think I know one or two more naughtier words than that. Anyway, continue.
If a washed up, you name it.
I think it's funny that he apologises to the court for saying deadbeat dad, but is happy to drop the F-bomb without any warning. Anyway, continue.
She's spewed it.
And even though the trial is officially over and the jury unanimously sided with Johnny, evidence of Amber's cruelty keeps coming in. Newly resurfaced tweets that Amber shared while arguing on Twitter with Johnny's lawyer, Adam Waldman, show that Amber has a long track record of body shaming other people. Back in March 2021, Waldman exposed Amber in a series of tweets for lying about using makeup to cover up the alleged marks she claimed she sustained when Johnny got physical, the day before her infamous 2015 appearance on James Corden's show. After Waldman shared snaps from the photo shoot Amber did just days after the alleged incident took place, Amber fired back and mocked Waldman for being short. "Yes, Mr. Waldman, I may be wearing makeup on this occasion, but on every occasion you will still be short," Amber wrote.
Hang on, I'm sure I've heard that somewhere, or a version of that. I think Winston Churchill, Winston Churchill's got this famous quote where some woman accused him of being drunk and he said something like, "Yes, ma'am, but I'll be sober in the morning and you'll still be ugly." So a little bit of plagiarism there to go along with all of Amber Heard's other disturbing behaviour from her past.
And then after one Twitter user wrote, "I'd rather be short than a gold digger," Amber replied, "It's good to be realistic with your goals." But it didn't stop there. After Amber body shamed Waldman, one of her fans said, "Yas, mama," and Amber responded, "Tiny men say the biggest things."
Obviously, her behaviour is coming across as petty. You know, it's easy to get into these Twitter or social media spats, but she is an A-list celebrity on trial at the time, so it's probably not a good look, probably not that sensible to do it in that context. But I suppose that again feeds into somebody who might have borderline personality disorder because they have this fragile ego and they feel easily attacked at times. I don't know if I'd use the word paranoid, I think that's a bit too strong, but let's say sensitive to criticism. So they can easily be offended, they can misinterpret things that are meant to be sort of a joke or neutral as being a personal attack. Having said that, I do think Amber Heard was being attacked on this occasion. So I'm not saying that there wasn't something there. I suppose I'm saying that her reaction was a bit OTT and could be typical for this kind of personality disorder.
But if you thought that was bad, wait till you watch the clip of Amber making fun of DV victims while drunk. Yes, you heard that right. The woman who spent years claiming she's the voice representing all victims was caught on camera joking about DV. One Reddit user shared the clip from 2018 titled, "Drunk Amber Heard on stage giving a shout out to Buddy Michelle Dauber, while clearly talking about the serious topic of abuse. The clip was filmed in June 2018 at the Global Citizen Festival in New York, and it shows seemingly intoxicated Amber mocking DV victims while urging the audience to vote in the midterm elections at the time.
Michelle Dauber, the founder of Enough is Enough Voter Project, said, "It is time to end the culture that protects the careers of powerful men who abuse women and survivors, and to put this issue in front of you, the voters. And I think we have all had enough." Voting is the surest way of maintaining our voice in your democracy. Okay, so if you haven't registered to vote yet, what are you waiting for? Get out of here, get out of there, and find these groups and register now. Please.
See, I don't know, I might actually be standing up for Amber Heard's behaviour here now. I'm not convinced that she was really mocking domestic violence victims at that point. She did look intoxicated, let's face it, she's kind of all over the place, her facial expressions were a bit kind of over-exaggerated. Could it be slightly something to do with nerves? I don't know, it's quite a big crowd. I think it was maybe in a clumsy attempt, and it didn't come across well. She didn't come across well, but I think it's a bit unfair to say that she was mocking them. I don't think she was mocking them. I think she just, I just didn't think she did it in a particularly sensitive manner. But that's different, I think, from intentionally mocking them. So I think that criticism is unfair.
By the way, the woman Amber gave a shout out to, Michelle Dauber, is the same sociology professor who recently wrote some disgustingly misogynistic tweets about Johnny's lawyer, Camille Vasquez. Commenting on Johnny's win in the defamation trial, Dauber tweeted, "In a society that strips women of real power, some women have learned to seek male approval. Sucking up to power might feel good to you, but it won't work. You will be next." And then in a follow-up tweet, Dauber shared a photo of Camille in front of the courthouse and wrote, "Of all the women who suck up to male power, women lawyers are the absolute worst of the bunch. Desperate to prove that they are real lawyers, and understanding that being a woman undermines their identity as lawyers, they throw women under the bus as hard and fast as they can." Dauber also referred to Camille as some pick-me-girl lawyer. And then she proceeded to share photos of other female lawyers who defended high-profile clients, calling them skirts.
I'm a bit kind of confused and a little bit torn here. So I think it's a bit unfair if we're criticising Amber Heard for just giving a shout out to one person who presumably sends lots of tweets, and some of those tweets are a bit misjudged. That's not really Amber Heard's fault, and she's not necessarily shouting out somebody's entire ideology by saying hello to them. As I said, it's a bit distasteful to do that on stage, but I don't think that's mocking the victims. And also what Michelle Dauber is saying is unfair, really. You can't, whatever gender a lawyer is, people need representation. So even if somebody is accused of doing a really bad thing, R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein was in that photo, they are scum and they deserve to be punished uncategorically, but they need representation for the system to work. That doesn't mean that the person who's representing them, supports abuse. That doesn't mean that at all. It means that they're helping wheel the wheels of justice so that the case can continue, and their job is to try and get the best outcome for their client. I suppose we're getting into a bit of a philosophical wormhole here, but I suppose my point I'm trying to make is that I think it's a bit unfair to criticise somebody, for Michelle Dauber to criticise those women for doing their job, basically.
After the video of Amber mocking DV victims went viral on Reddit, many fans noted that Amber's behavior isn't just rude, but downright psychotic. "I don't see how anyone could be around this woman and not see she is crazy," one Twitter user wrote. "I think most of us would be able to pick up on psycho just by being around her. Her mannerisms are very random. It's borderline scary because there's no natural rhythm in the way she moves." One fan wrote, "The way she goes from innocent to angry to smiling in a matter of seconds is so freaking creepy. Wow." Okay,
there's just so much to unpick there. So I heard the word psychotic and also saw the term psycho. So I don't have time to go into it all now, but psychotic is not what Amber Heard is expressing. So that is, hearing voices, paranoid delusions. Psycho is short for psychopath. So Is she a psychopath? I'm not convinced. So charming, manipulative, antisocial. I don't know if she's that charming, manipulative or deceitful because she got exposed so easily. Having said all that, a variable mood and unpredictability and aggression and anger can be features of of borderline personality disorder. So by all means, those things might fit the pattern of what we're seeing. But I just think that, as is very common in the shrine of mental illness, those particular words, psycho and psychotic, are completely wrong and misjudged in this particular case. Also, when we're talking about her facial expression changing and it being creepy, to me, that is much more likely explained by intoxication, especially when she was on that stage in that clip, rather than actual mental illness. Let's continue.
But that wasn't the only time Amber made a complete mockery of DV victims. Check out this video of Amber getting weirdly excited while giving a speech about DV.
Domestic freedom to speak truth. That is freedom. That is equality.
What was that? Who acts like that while talking about something so serious? And imagine how real victims must feel watching this.
Again, I'm not convinced this is mocking the victims. Again, it was misjudged, it was clumsy. I don't think when she's doing that, I don't think she's trying to, or intentionally trying to say, I don't care about what I'm talking about. I don't think that's the case. I think she's trying to kind of get passionate about her ideology, her beliefs, her agenda. I think she's trying to get the crowd on her side. Again, I don't think she came across well. I'm not saying what she did was right, but the point I'm trying to make is I don't think it was intentionally mocking the victims. That's my opinion.
But we're still not done. What you'll see next is Amber laughing like a maniac during a teen suicide charity event. Amber was talking about a teen survivor named Gwen and her life-saving call with a counselor when she burst into laughter after seeing something in the audience. Take a look and tell us if this is normal behavior.
Jennifer, I see you. You planned that. The counselor, I'm so sorry.
After watching this disturbing video, many fans flocked to social media to express their disgust with Amber's behavior and accused her of being completely heartless. One fan commented, "Imagine how that family feels watching Amber laugh through such a serious story. It's their personal story, not made-up fiction." Amber was so disappointing to watch. You completely made a jerk of yourself. Shame on you. Very clearly, you have no heart or soul. Another person wrote, "Her expression is like, okay, let me furrow my brows here. No, wait, let me give a sympathetic smile. She's so calculated and emotionless, but can give off the impression of having emotions, like a true narcissist."
Okay, so the video's ended talking about that bit at the very end. Again, yeah, she didn't come across well. And she did seem a little bit callous. She was kind of laughing inappropriately. But again, I suppose for me, that's not intentional. She's not going out of her way to make a mockery of the situation. She just completely misjudged it. And yeah, I don't know what else to say apart from that. I think that even though I agree that a lot of her behaviour is horrific and a lot of it fits in crucially to this diagnosis of borderline personality disorder, those last bits at the end about her mocking, I'm not as convinced as whoever narrated this video clip. So in conclusion, I'm not trying to jump on the bandwagon of Amber bashing. Obviously I haven't assessed her in person, but working on the assumption that all the evidence and all these accusations are true, then I think absolutely she fits in with this diagnosis, borderline personality disorder. But it's more than that. It's also her experiences and her other personality traits, her sensitivity, her fragile ego, etc., etc. So hope you've enjoyed that video. Hope it's been educational and informative. If you like this video, I have other ones about the Amber Heard trial, about the reaction to some of the testimony. I also have other high-profile celebrity cases such as Boris Johnson, R. Kelly, Tommy Robinson, my Schmeichel analysis, and all of those things. See you in my next video. Please remember to subscribe. Do not forget, stay euthymic, plus I love you.